for whom I'm very grateful to all the team who provide their time and energies and support freely all the time. Our community is open all year, but we have our conference once a year. So let's move on and find out a little bit more about you. If you're able to see the little smiley faces and world objects at the bottom left of your whiteboard, you can click and drag them to the part of the world in which you are currently residing. If you are on a tablet or an iPad, that may not be possible, so continue to tell us in the text chat where you are from. This is always a good thing to do, especially as we often span the globe, and I need to turn on the tools for you to do that. Thank you, Joe, for reminding me. So now you should be able to pick up the tools and spread them around. Thank you, that's more specific. I never knew where exactly you were in Thailand, Shambles. And we have someone all the way over in the US. And that'll be Peggy. And Thailand and Australia. Well done. Thank you so much. Someone grabbed your smiley. Oh no, you can have another one, Peggy. All right, I'm hoping that we're done there. So this gives Ben an idea of just who he's talking to in the session today. So thanks for sharing that with us. And without further ado, I would like to invite Ben to step up to the lectern, switch on his video, and introduce himself in more details and tell us more about physics education. Over to you, Ben.
Hi, thanks so much. Yeah, welcome to everyone. Yeah, we've got a few people across the globe, and I'm kind of hoping this becomes a bit of a session which is just sort of a seed, so to speak, so that you can take it and use it how you will, and feel free, of course, to get in touch about further information. I did put a link earlier on with the actual full fellowship report. That'll also be at the end of the slides too. I've just done it as a quick shrink URL, and yeah, no problem at all. So really quickly, yeah, as you can read on the screen, we've been doing a lot of science outreach for quite a few years now, and we see a lot of kids a year. Up until 2010, we did a lot of driving around in vehicles, basically just visiting schools to do a lot of conferencing, a lot of lessons, and we saw these video conference systems being established, and we thought, what are these things? So we figured, well, why not learn by just getting one? And so since 2010, we've been doing video conferencing all over the place. And yes, you're right, Peggy, physics. I kind of like the phonetic way of spelling it. A lot of English teachers inwardly shudder, but it's a bit of fun, and that's the idea. We're just doing some nice outreach, and it's all good. All good. So tell you what, it really shouldn't be about what I do. It's really about what you're going to get out of this session. So really quickly, please, as you go along and you see something that's moderately interesting, please put it through the Twitter chat. That would be useful because, hey, there might be some stuff for other people you might know. And I really want to make sure, and I will slow down with our slides because I know that some people will have to wait for it to load through. I do need to acknowledge who sponsored my trip across North America. I did see 16 museums and multiple school districts and all these galleries and places. It was amazing. And it couldn't have been possible without the Churchill Trust. Really quickly, it was established in 1965, basically to honour the memory of Winston Churchill. So Winston Churchill, basically to say, look, if there are people who want to leave Australia or New Zealand or the UK to go and find out knowledge from outside their borders and bring it back to their nation and spread the information, and it's of genuine interest to as many people as possible, they will take you on board. So I'll put a Twitter link on there at Churchill Trust. They basically put this out between November and February every year for applications. So I highly recommend you checking it out. Look up Churchill Trust on your favorite search engine and see if you want to get involved. Sorry guys, in Arizona and Thailand and so on, it's yeah, it is very much for the UK, Australia and New Zealand. However, the findings are meant to be, they're useful for everyone, and that's what this particular fellowship was. Right, so we've got to get into it because we only have a certain amount of time, and I have a lot of stuff to get through. I've got to summarize 7 weeks of traveling to multiple cities every 3 days. So, For those people who haven't done video conferencing before, it looks like these pictures you see there. The top left-hand corner is just simply from a data projector run off a Polycom video conference system. That particular connection was done to a school in Wisconsin, and as I was saying to Peggy, yeah, I really do some early morning connections. I was running a human body session at that time. The middle session is kind of what you'd see with middle picture there is kind of what you'd see with a very fancy looking system bolted onto a wall somewhere. In that case, I was presenting into, I think, University of Western Sydney, and then connecting out to Korea for the Asian Connections program with part of the UNE project, University of New England. Those are fancy systems, the sort of things you would see in major corporations, basically. And the bottom right are the sort of ones you might see in a lot of schools. Sometimes they're put on basically like a shopping cart, or put onto a wall. In that case, I was running a chemistry session to a school, actually to a library in Auburn, Sydney. Even though it's just a quick shop, I thought it might be kind of handy. You see how those kids are just sitting there? That's not the point of conferencing. In fact, video conferencing often is accused, and I understand why, of it basically, is it just a video? Not really. Those kids actually just in front of that picture in that small little shot are about to do chemistry stuff in their room. So the idea being is that they can do interactive experiments themselves and be guided by a remote presenter. All right, so the thing with video conferencing, there's so much stuff, especially if you haven't dealt with it before. So the next slide kind of shows you like even just a moderate slice of all the different solutions available. And to be honest, it blows your mind when you first walk in. It's completely confusing, and I totally get it. This is a start. There are literally nearly 100 different solutions of varying qualities. These are kind of like your main people that you see hanging around. There are all different versions of them, and these systems are kind of what you would see with either a formal video conference system put into a school or a library or some business to be able to communicate to people all over the globe. Or some of them are web conferencing technologies. I mean, one in the middle there is Skype, which a lot of people will know, but there are plenty of them. Zoom, Safari Montage, Blue Jeans, that type of things. There's all these different ones, and so it can be a bit confusing. So what I'd like to do is point out before we go too much further is that there is a knowledge base that you can get to. I'm lucky enough to be sitting within the leadership team for this network with ISTE, the International Society for Technology and Education. There is an IVC network, an interactive video conferencing network, which is, well, really an idea of here's best practice and also some tips and tricks. So there's all sorts of sessions that get put up there, and I highly recommend you go check that out. For those people, because I can see there's a few people here who are in Australia, this doesn't mean it has to be exclusively Australian. One of the things that occurred in about 2012 is that a few people in Sydney, a few museums and ourselves, realized that we needed to start sharing best practice because we were running these educational sessions to schools all over the country, and there were varying degrees of quality and also varying degrees of, hey, what platform should I use? Why should I use it? How do I connect with people? And probably, why should I even bother? So Virtual Excursions Australia was set up as a non-profit network so that we could share best practice in monthly meetings, and it's been happening since 2012. It's now morphed into something more than just Australia. Yeah, there's an Australian title. Actually, you know what? You're right. I will turn up my video. That will help Matt Harvey out. So we'll do that. So we'll get rid of the video, and you can just talk to a logo. That's fine. All right. So this has people from all over the globe. It's not just schools. It's not just video conference education providers from museums and galleries and things. It's also all types of vendors, the people who actually have the equipment, and also the calendar systems, which allows you to go find something kind of cool if your school is studying history or maybe biology of squids or whatever it is you want to do. So between, I'll go back a slide, between the Interactive Video Conferencing Network at ISTE and Virtual Excursions Australia, there is a lot of information available, and a lot of people are there to help out. So please use it there. It's there to help out, especially considering what can happen. Now, here's the plan. We're going to be looking at all this different stuff I saw over the 7-week trip, and of course I can't really do it justice. So please send me some information, quick questions via my email address, and I will help you out as quick as possible. Here we go. The start, BYOD, bring your own device. Right, BYOD, I really want to give a heads up to Jack Matheson from Minnesota Historical Society, who did a brilliant presentation at ISTE 2014 in Atlanta, Georgia. He basically pointed out how to have kids bring in their iPads, their Android devices, whatever they feel like, into a room and let them communicate directly to the presenters. Now, you might be wondering, well, why would you bother? Well, in any conference, there are people who want to put their hand up, and in any class there's people who want to be involved. But there's always those kids that know a lot and they're scared to say so, or genuinely just want to ask a question and don't want to be ridiculed. So this is what's cool about the BYOD and putting it to video conferencing situations. So imagine students sitting there with a tablet and a simple thing, which even like Blackboard does as well, introducing polling, live polling. So hey, who thinks A, B, C, or D? Vote now. And the Poll Everywhere is a free platform. There is a paid part you can do, but there is a free platform within it, which if you're not using something like Collaborate, you can basically run a quick poll to kids through a web link, and they can give you live feedback straight away. Kind of obvious, but it's quite useful. The other two are really handy. Now, what I'm going to do is we'll talk about the one in the bottom left for a start. That's called Voki, V-O-K-I. Now, Voki is kind of like speaking avatars. What they've got is a whole bunch of preloaded cartoons that can move their mouths and talk to you with a certain voice. Now, why would you want to use this? Well, you could have a avatar of Einstein basically standing in a classroom, and you could ask the kids in a remote connection saying, righto, kids, what would Einstein say about his special theory of relativity? Well, the kids will then type in what they think, send it to you via Twitter or via a back channel chat like in Blackboard or something like that, and you can then choose the best answer and put it into Einstein's mouth, and then Einstein speaks it back at the class. Now, you'll be amazed how competitive that becomes, because you type that in, if your one gets put into this avatar's mouth, you win, kind of thing. Very cool. Similar version to Super Lame in the middle. This is basically speech bubbles that you can overlay over the top of your own pictures. So in the case of Minnesota Historical Society, he would show pictures of the 1800s, what it was like to be in North America, and he would put speech bubbles over, I don't know, if you're looking at the slave trade or something, you'd have a speech bubble over a slave and a speech bubble over an overseer, and be actually saying, what are these two people thinking or saying? And that really becomes quite powerful. Now, of course, you need to moderate what they're thinking about. So just be aware that perhaps when you're doing a session like that, you might want a second person to help out. But it does allow people throughout the entire audience to communicate, just like you're doing in your chat window right now, but this time you get to put out as the main content. All right, moving on. Games by video conference. Now, I love this.